Good evening, everybody. Last night, we talked about rituals, the invisible patterns people inherit, repeat, protect, question, and eventually pass forward to the next generation. And honestly, I think what surprised people most was realizing how much of life happens automatically. Wake up, check the phone, rush out the door, sit in traffic, answer emails, say, "I'm tired," repeat tomorrow. And once people realize that, a bigger question quietly appears. If environments shape behavior, what kinds of environments help people feel most alive? And that question became the foundation for tonight. Because after weeks of studying psychology, education, relationships, technology, healthcare, leadership, media, cities, and work culture, the Good News Report organized everything into 15 categories connected by one central idea. What actually helps people thrive long-term? Not just financially, emotionally too. So tonight, I want you to think about this less like a news report and more like a masterclass. 15 systems, 15 possibilities, 15 potential upgrades to modern life that could help people feel more connected, more balanced, more emotionally healthy, more present, and more fulfilled. And if you're watching tonight, I genuinely encourage you to write these down because each category includes when the system entered modern society, how the system functions today, the current efficiency rating, the estimated emotional and economic cost, and an alternative possibility future generations may eventually explore. So let's begin. Number 1. Attention Protection Systems. Entered society, 2007 smartphone era, current ritual, infinite scroll engagement systems competing for human attention, current efficiency rating, 3.5 out of 10. Estimated global cost, roughly $2 to $5 trillion annually through distraction, burnout, anxiety, sleep disruption, and reduced focus. What's happening today? Technology companies compete aggressively for attention because attention drives advertising revenue. People now spend enormous amounts of time trying to recover the peace modern life keeps interrupting. Meditation apps, digital detoxes, focus playlists, sleep podcasts, alternative possibility, technology ecosystems increasingly designed around clarity, focus, presence, and emotional well-being instead of only engagement. Micro-action tonight. Move your charger across the room before bed. That's it. One small interruption to the ritual. Number 2. Simulation-based education. Entered society. Industrial education systems around the 1800s. Current ritual. Memorization first learning. Current efficiency rating, 4.8 out of 10. Estimated global cost, $6 to $8 trillion annually in disengagement, underpreparedness, career mismatch, and inefficient workforce development. What's happening today? Students often memorize information disconnected from real-world emotional application. Alternative possibility, immersive experiential learning, leadership simulations, entrepreneurship simulations, communication simulations, financial literacy through experience instead of theory, education evolving from remember information to experience reality safely first. Number 3. Preventative healthcare. Entered society, modern medicine around the early 1900s, current ritual, reactive healthcare after illness appears. Current efficiency rating, 6.0 out of 10. Estimated global cost, more than $10 trillion globally. What's happening today? Healthcare systems are extraordinary at intervention, but often weak at prevention. Alternative possibility, predictive health ecosystems, stress monitoring, continuous diagnostics, mental health analytics, nutrition intelligence, helping people understand themselves earlier instead of waiting for crisis. Micro-action, drink 1 glass of water before coffee tomorrow morning. One tiny shift. Number 4. Emotional intelligence education. Entered society, historically underdeveloped. Current ritual. People learn emotions informally through observation and trial and error. Current efficiency rating, 4.9 out of 10. Estimated global cost, potentially trillions annually through divorce, violence, depression, addiction, and workplace conflict. What's happening today? People often receive more education on equations than emotional regulation. Alternative possibility, emotional literacy becoming foundational infrastructure, communication training, conflict navigation, stress management, nervous system literacy, because life is emotionally complex. Number 5. Output-based work systems. Entered society. Industrial work models around 1914. Current ritual. Visible busyness equals productivity. Current efficiency rating, 5.1 out of 10. Estimated global cost, roughly $4 trillion annually in burnout and productivity inefficiency. What's happening today? People often perform productivity theatre instead of meaningful contribution. Alternative possibility, energy-optimized contribution systems, flexible schedules, deep focus environments, AI-supported workflow optimization, success measured by meaningful outcomes, not exhaustion. Number 6. Relationship intelligence systems. Entered society, ancient inherited family structures. Current ritual, relationships learned mostly through improvisation. Current efficiency rating, 5.4 out of 10. Estimated global cost, $1 to $2 trillion annually through divorce, conflict, emotional instability, and family dysfunction. What's happening today? Millions of people spend years emotionally decoding each other, without ever being taught communication itself. Alternative possibility, relationship literacy ecosystems, expectation alignment, conflict navigation, communication frameworks, emotional coaching, not replacing love, helping people understand each other better. Number 7. Collaborative governance, entered society, ancient tribal politics, current ritual, adversarial political systems, current efficiency rating, 4.2 out of 10, estimated global cost, $5 to $10 trillion annually through polarization, inefficiency, conflict, and instability. What's happening today? Politics often rewards emotional intensity more than long-term systems thinking. Alternative possibility, policy simulation systems, cross-party collaboration, consequence forecasting, citizen simulation councils, AI-assisted policy modeling, testing policies like engineers test infrastructure. Number 8. Clarity-based media systems, entered society, mass media era, current ritual, fear-driven attention economics, current efficiency rating, 3.9 out of 10, estimated global cost, $1 to $3 trillion annually in stress, misinformation, outrage fatigue, and emotional overload. What's happening today? Fear spreads faster than nuance, outrage spreads faster than understanding, because emotional intensity drives engagement. Alternative possibility, clarity-centered journalism, context-first reporting, actionable information, thoughtful understanding, helping people leave informed instead of emotionally overloaded. Number 9, contribution-centered status systems, entered society, industrial capitalism, current ritual, human value tied heavily to wealth and visibility, current efficiency rating, 5.0 out of 10, estimated global cost, multi-trillion-dollar psychological cost. What's happening today? People often sacrifice meaning and emotional well-being pursuing external validation. Alternative possibility, contribution-based recognition systems, mentorship, community impact, purpose, presence, success expanding beyond status symbols. Number 10, skill simulation hiring, entered society, corporate expansion around the early 1900s. Current ritual, resume filtering and credential sorting, current efficiency rating, 4.5 out of 10, estimated global cost, $2 trillion annually through poor hiring matches and underutilized talent. What's happening today? Organizations often hire based on credentials instead of demonstrated capability. Alternative possibility, scenario-based hiring systems, real-world simulations, collaborative problem-solving, live capability demonstrations, hiring evolving from prove you studied to prove you can perform. Number 11, systems thinking education, entered society, industrial specialization era, current ritual, knowledge separated into disconnected silos, current efficiency rating, 5.2 out of 10, estimated cost, potentially enormous but difficult to fully calculate. What's happening today? People struggle understanding how technology, economics, mental health, relationships, and media influence one another. Alternative possibility, integrated systems, education, causal mapping, consequence visualization, interdisciplinary learning, helping people understand the whole machine, not just isolated parts. Number 12, walkable human-centered communities, entered society, car-dominant planning around the early 1900s, current ritual, cities optimized mostly around movement and commerce. Current efficiency rating, 5.6 out of 10. Estimated global cost, trillions annually through pollution, isolation, transportation, inefficiency, and declining health. What's happening today? Many people live physically near each other, while emotionally disconnected. Alternative possibility, connection-centered urban design, walkability, community spaces, local ecosystems, human interaction. Places designed to feel emotionally alive. Number 13, leadership through systems intelligence. Entered society, ancient leadership structures. Current ritual, charisma heavily influences leadership selection. Current efficiency rating, 4.7 out of 10. Estimated global cost, potentially civilization-scale losses. What's happening today? Confidence is often mistaken for competence. Alternative possibility, systems intelligence leadership evaluation, long-term reasoning tests, crisis simulations, emotional stability assessments, collaborative intelligence measurements, leadership becoming competency certified, similar to medicine or aviation. Number 14, intentional consumption economies. Entered society, 1950s mass advertising era, current ritual, overconsumption-driven economies. Current efficiency rating, 4.4 out of 10. Estimated global cost, $3 to $6 trillion annually. What's happening today? People often consume for identity signaling, emotional coping, and algorithmic influence. Alternative possibility, meaning-centered consumption systems, durability-focused products, financial literacy, sustainability incentives, reduced manipulative advertising, shifting from constant replacement to quality and intentionality, and finally, number 15, shared human identity systems. Entered society, ancient tribal civilization. Current ritual, people organize primarily through us versus them identity structures. Current efficiency rating, 4.3 out of 10. Estimated global cost, potentially incalculable. War, discrimination, fragmentation, conflict. What's happening today? People often define belonging through opposition, alternative possibility, shared humanity coordination systems, collaborative global projects, mixed group education, empathy building simulations, universal developmental goals. A civilization increasingly identifying through shared stewardship instead of division, and honestly, after exploring all 15, one realization kept returning over and over again. The greatest inefficiency in modern life may not be lack of intelligence. It may be systems shaping intelligent people in ways that quietly disconnect them from clarity, presence, relationships, and emotional well-being, because people already possess extraordinary creativity, extraordinary technology, extraordinary potential. The next evolution may simply be learning how to align systems with emotional sustainability too, and that's why this conversation matters, because the good life is not about rejecting modern life. It's about becoming conscious enough to ask, how do we continue evolving thoughtfully from here? And that's what the Good Network is really about. Clarity, not telling people what to think, not demanding people reject society, but encouraging people to imagine alternatives thoughtfully enough to discover real solutions. And tonight, I don't want anybody watching this to think, that sounds beautiful, but I don't have the energy to rebuild my entire life. Because systems are simply collections of repeated small actions, which means even tiny shifts matter. Move your charger, drink more water, take 3 uninterrupted minutes to fully listen to somebody you love. That's how systems begin changing. One rhythm at a time. So tonight, pay attention to the rituals shaping your life, not critically, curiously. Ask yourself, which systems genuinely help people thrive? Which routines bring peace instead of exhaustion? Which environments help people feel more alive instead of simply more productive? Because maybe the future doesn't belong to the loudest people. Maybe it belongs to the people willing to thoughtfully ask, what could life also become from here? I'm Candace Goodman. You just got the goods from the goods.